What if I told you that Ferrari has found a trick that can change the performance of Formula One engines forever, leaving Red Bull and Mercedes behind? What if that trick was so audacious that it even surprised Leclerc and left Hamilton speechless? Get ready, because what you are about to discover could change the course of the premier class of motorsport. Ferrari's 2025 season wasn't simply disappointing. It was such a brutal turning point that it forced the Scuderia's entire technical identity to be rethought. Imagine the legendary Italian team with all its legacy, resources, and two top-level drivers in Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, completing a 24-race calendar without achieving a single victory. It's more than a blip. It's a sporting and psychological collapse not seen since his worst years in the early hybrid era. The SF25, the car of that season, began the year showing signs of weakness that would later become a clear statement. There was not enough potential for improvement to catch up with McLaren, Mercedes, or even a declining Red Bull. Fred Vasseur, team director, then faced a crossroads that few leaders in his position would be willing to assume. From April 2025, just a few races into the season, a radical decision was made: stop all development of the SF25. Every engineer, every hour in the wind tunnel, every simulator test, was diverted towards a single objective: the car of 2026, known internally as Project 678. This decision, more than brave, was perceived by many within the paddock as a suicidal bet. Sacrificing an entire year in Formula One, giving up any chance of victory or podium, and enduring media pressure and internal frustration for months, all in the name of an uncertain future, was a move that could cost anyone their head. However, what seemed like a surrender was actually a long-term declaration of war. Vasseur knew that the 2026 technical rules offered a unique opportunity to reset the board. The new 50-50 hybrid era, with equal weight on the electric and combustion motor, meant that neither team was going to have a legacy advantage. Everyone was starting from scratch. And Ferrari, if it wanted to get back to the top, couldn't afford another season of incremental development. They needed a revolution. Thus Project 678 was born. This move not only involved redesigning a car from scratch, but also completely transforming the work environment in Maranello. Ferrari reorganized its technical departments, invested in new advanced manufacturing technologies, and above all, outlined a new design philosophy that broke with 15 years of tradition based on the conservative balance between weight, reliability, and performance. For the first time in a long time, Ferrari was betting on a radical vision. The team's entire focus changed immediately, from the logistics of race weekends to the goals of each practice session. Every decision made during 2025 was intended to build competitive advantage by 2026. The short-term results were disastrous, yes. The team's morale took a hit, the Italian press swooped against the team's management, and the fans began to lose faith. But in the halls of the engine and aerodynamics department at Maranello, something completely new was brewing. Something that even the pilots themselves, accustomed to the chronic frustration of previous years, began to observe with increasing amazement. What Ferrari was preparing for 2026 was not a simple evolution. It was, in every sense, an industrial revolution applied to Formula One. Ferrari's revolutionary 2026 trick is not just a technical innovation. It is an ideological break with everything established in the design of power units in Formula One. For decades, internal combustion engines in F1 were built around a sacred principle: reduce weight at all costs. And in that universe, aluminum reigned as the undisputed material for cylinder heads. Its lightness and good thermal conductivity made it the standard. However, Ferrari decided to ignore that dogma. Instead, they opted for a material considered unthinkable in the premier class: steel. But it is not just any steel. What Ferrari has developed is an advanced steel alloy reinforced with copper and ceramic materials, specifically designed to withstand pressure and temperature conditions that would simply collapse a traditional aluminum cylinder head. This decision was not made lightly. 4 months, Enrico Galtieri's team, together with Davide Mazzoni and Guido Di Paola, analyzed the 2026 technical regulations line by line, looking for gaps, opportunities, and new freedoms. What they found was a perfect window. With the increase in the minimum weight allowed for power units from 120 to 150 kilograms, the handicap of steel was transformed into a strategic advantage. The key behind this choice is not just resistance. It's what that resistance allows you to do. Steel cylinder heads can operate at much higher combustion temperatures and pressures, allowing for more complete, more efficient combustion with less energy loss. Ferrari is pursuing a concept that until now only existed in laboratories. ultra-high efficiency thermal engines capable of matching or exceeding the energy delivery of larger hybrid systems. And in the context of 2026, where 50% of the car's power will depend on the internal combustion engine and the other 50% on the hybrid system, that efficiency is not only desirable, it's critical. The challenge, of course, was how to make a steel cylinder head that would not only last, but would also be compact, precise, and functional enough for an F1 car. And that's where Ferrari introduced another layer of innovation: metal additive manufacturing using DMLS, an industrial 3D printing technology that uses high-powered lasers to melt metal powder layer by layer. This technique allowed Ferrari to build internal structures that would be impossible with traditional methods, such as internal cooling ducts with geometries adapted millimeters to the real thermal flows of the engine. Steel opened the door to thermal engineering never seen before. Being able to withstand more heat, the engine cooling system could also be redesigned. This means that the engine no longer needs large radiators. Ferrari can now use smaller radiators, which in turn frees up space in the chassis, reduces aerodynamic drag, and improves the overall efficiency of the car. It's a technical domino effect that completely transforms the way the car is designed, from mass distribution to airflow around the car. Furthermore, Ferrari did not take this path alone. They collaborated with AVL, an Austrian company specializing in powertrain development, to validate each step of the design. Early testing raised doubts, especially regarding the mileage these steel cylinder heads could withstand without degradation. But after more than 6 months of dynamic bench testing, the technical team not only met its durability goals, he surpassed them. And the most disturbing thing for its rivals is this: each of these advances has been developed silently, far from the media radar, under the cover of a 2025 season where Ferrari deliberately stayed out of the spotlight. While everyone was talking about McLaren and the rebirth of Mercedes, a technical weapon was brewing in Maranello that can rewrite the balance of power in 2026. What began as a trick is, in reality, a structural change in the way Formula One engines are conceived. And Ferrari is about to be the first to demonstrate it on the track. To understand the true impact that this technical revolution will have on Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, you must first understand the emotional and competitive state in which both drivers closed the 2025 season. For Leclerc, the frustration was familiar. Years of broken promises from Ferrari had made him a symbol of wasted talent. His pure speed and commitment to the team were never in doubt, but the machinery under his hands rarely lived up to his ambition. And 2025 was possibly his most desperate season. Not even the arrival of a 7-time world champion as a teammate changed the course. Ferrari was stagnant. But everything changed when he was presented with the concept of Project 678. Leclerc was one of the first pilots to get involved in preliminary simulations of the SF-26. From the first data, he understood that it was not a simple evolution. The engineers explained the new thermal approach to the engine, the efficiency maps, the cooling flows that redesigned the aerodynamics from scratch. For the first time in years, the Monegasque driver felt that he was not reacting to the innovations of his rivals. "I was part of a breakup." And that changed his attitude. He went from chronic frustration to almost obsessive concentration. His comments in the simulators began to be more accurate. His relationship with the technicians in the hybrid and thermal area became more direct. Leclerc didn't just want to drive the car of the future. "I wanted to shape it." On the other side of the garage, Hamilton experienced an even more intense emotional roller coaster. When he decided to leave Mercedes to join Ferrari, many saw it as a romantic act, the last great adventure of a legend who had won everything. But he had another idea in mind. Hamilton wanted to win the 8th title. He wanted to redeem himself not only before the paddock, but before himself, after the bitter outcome of 2021. His debut at Ferrari was anything but ideal. In Australia, he got stuck in traffic, frustrated by strategic errors and an unpredictable car in mixed conditions. But after that first hit of reality, something clicked in him. Hamilton began attending more development sessions than usual. He asked, he observed, he even questioned technical decisions of Project 678. And although at first he was skeptical about the idea of steel cylinder heads, a few sessions in the simulator with the thermal maps of the new engine were enough to change his position. He put it bluntly in an internal meeting: "This may be the most important thing Ferrari has done in 20 years. And since then, it became an active part of the car's conceptual design." Leave me the comments what you think about all this.